Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Make It Simple TV. I am Heather Porter. I am one of the co-hosts, and I'm also one of the co-founders of Autopilot Your Business. And of course, I am joined by my other co-host and co-founder, Andrew McCauley. So first, let's say hello to Andrew. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Heather, how are you? Another exciting episode of Make It Simple TV today. I'm looking forward to it. We have a very special guest who we both met together at an event a number of years ago, and looking forward to finding out what he's up to. And he's got some really interesting stories, so I'm looking forward to sharing those with everybody today too.
He does. Now, I'm going to introduce him to you guys, and this bio is a little bit longer, but I really want to share this information with you because he has quite the story. And I think if you actually understand his story, you're going to understand why he's such a gifted copywriter. So we want to welcome to the show Dean Edelson. He is an award-winning copywriter and founder of One Big Idea Marketing. Dean honed his writing chops in Hollywood, writing and producing for film and television. He created hundreds of promos, commercials, and TV and radio spots for all the major studios and production houses. I'm going to name a few of those: Paramount, DreamWorks, Warner Brothers, Sony, Columbia, Universal, Disney, Fox Kids, Fox Sports, Saban, and many others. Wow. Dean wrote and produced movie trailers and promos for feature films and commercials for the hit TV shows Seinfeld, Frasier, Grace Under Fire, and Roseanne. For film, Dean wrote and produced EPKs, which are electronic press kits, and behind-the-scenes DVD featurettes for such feature films as Disney's Oliver Twist, Les Mis, Billy Elliot, and others. And get this, guys, there's another part of him. He was a former stand-up comedian. He spent 15 years performing in clubs across the country and on cruise ships. Now, why we're really excited to bring him to you is because of this. Because when it comes to copy, Dean is an authority at product creation and sales funnels, landing pages, sales letters, whiteboard doodle and animation scripts, email marketing, webinars, video sales letters, and on-camera sales and content scripts. And this is all the stuff that Andrew and I cannot stop telling you guys you need enough, which is your content marketing. So welcome to the show, Dean. How are you?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for that amazing introduction, which I wrote.
Of course,
it's a bio. It's a bio, but I'm very excited to be here. And I remember meeting you guys. It was at a Ryan Dice event a couple of years ago, and we keep continuing to meet up at Ryan Dice events.
Exactly. Now, Dean, obviously I've pretty much told your story, but let's go behind the scenes a little bit. Why copywriting? What was it about copy that attracted you to do that?
That's a great question, and it seems it's just about everything in my life. It found me rather than me finding it. I always knew I loved copy. I loved comedy, so I found myself writing my stand-up comedy. Then I fell into screenwriting, which is a different form of writing because it's long-form storytelling. And then when I was in writing and producing for film and television and doing all these commercials and promos, I wasn't thinking copywriting at the time. All I'm thinking in my head is, I've got a job to do. And then I realized when the internet came along and it just applied, and then I found then this moniker copywriting just seemed to find me and stick in some way, and it's something that I really enjoy. Definitely the stand-up and the screenwriting and the storytelling is so directly related to marketing and direct response copy, because it's all about finding the core emotion, the psychology, telling a wonderful story, taking the audience on a journey, getting them emotionally hooked into whatever product or service you're looking to sell. So it just seemed, it could seem very scattered at first, but taking a step back, it seems to have this organic, where all the pieces just fell into place, and it just kind of fits together.
So when you work with a client, what traditionally, how do you get started? If so, somebody came to you and they said, look, I need help with my messaging, I need help with my story, how would you work with them?
So the first question I will always ask is, who's your target audience? What's your avatar? So for those of you, an avatar is your ideal client. What is it about them? That's how I start. Do you know how old they are? What gender are they? What are their preferences? What do they like to read? What do they like to do? The activities. As if you're sitting down, talking to your best friend, and you know you can somehow persuade them with whatever it is you have to show, tell them, or sell them on your opinion or a product or a service. That's what you need to know first. So that is that is exactly where I start with a client. I think before that, I need to know that we can work together. There needs to be a simpatico. So I will always go with my gut. And if those red flags come up, I will let the client know that maybe you won't be a fit, but here's someone that I can recommend that I think would be a good fit for you. Because if I don't believe in the service or the product, or I feel there's a manipulation there, or it's just for money and they're not adding value to the planet in some way, in whatever way, shape, or form that is, I'm not going to feel good spending my valuable and precious hours working on that. And supporting that.
Can I just quickly ask you, how long did it take you when you started off copywriting to able to come to that conclusion that you could actually say no to customers? Because I know a lot of people start their business, they'll take anything they can because
yes,
people come along. How long did it take you to realize that, hey, you know what, this is going to take me backwards if I say yes?
Honestly, it probably took me a couple of years to do that. I was offered some things to do that I just morally and ethically didn't resonate with me, and I turned it down. I just let go of a client a couple of weeks ago in an area that I really liked. However, it wasn't feeling right, and I didn't like some of the things that were happening, and I said, here's how I would like to move forward. And then the client says, well, no, here's how we're going to move forward. You can have these 3 options. And I took the third option, which was to say he owed me. He had a balance due on an invoice, and I said, I'll take the third option and we can part friends, because that was the third option he gave me, and I said, that's the perfect option.
Yeah, right.
No hard feelings, but what I have found more and more, when you're struggling or you're looking to get clients, there's a need, almost a desperation, to take anything that you get, whether it's because you need the money, or it's good practice, or you're taking less than you normally would because you want to build up your portfolio. It's because you might be associated with, oh boy, this is a high-profile client. They've got a name in the business. I heard they might be difficult, and so you might cut your fees and do whatever you choose. Be very careful of that and ask yourself why you're doing it. And I have found that the more I've said no, and I just said this, closing the door on one no opens the door to infinite yeses.
I love it. I love that. It's a great little motto to work with. Now, if I relate back to websites and we hear about sales copy and sales pages, and then we talk about things like long sales pages and short sales pages. We've got video sales pages, all sorts of different things. What is working out there right now? What's the best thing that you're finding, or is it relevant to different industries?
Yes to the last question, and typically what I find is that the higher price point of the product or service, you're asking a lot from your audience, from your client and your prospects. So they want to dig a little deeper and want to know more. So long form generally tends to convert better, whether it's in a long form sales letter, a 40-minute, 45-minute VSL or video sales letter as opposed to a 15-minute sales letter. That's the general rule, and this is measuring apples to apples, meaning the copy is really good for both, whether it's short form or long form. For the lower priced products, you don't need as many words, you don't need as many testimonials, you don't need as much. The persuasion still needs to be there, but you can cut the content itself down. So it would be the higher price point the product, the longer form. And also, how are you pre-selling? How are you pre-framing your audience? Because you could have a short-form sales letter or VSL, but if you've done a lot of pre-positioning and pre-framing, meaning you're delivering lots of good, valuable content for free, whether it's videos, emails, newsletters, all the way up to the point where you're making the sale, your prospects are almost waiting for it. It's okay, I want this, I want this. You don't have to sell me anymore. Just tell me what's in it.
Speaking of the pre-sell, just out of curiosity, because email marketing and newsletters is such a big part of that, what do you find is working right now with email? Is it longer emails or shorter, or again, does that depend on the industry?
I just had a conversation with 2 clients about this in the past 2 days, and I'm a big proponent and fan of short emails. Email is Brendon Burchard likes to say, is one of the things that the email is somebody else is prioritizing your time with their needs. So with tablets and mobile right now, people are in and out, especially the younger you are in age, the more impulsive they are, the less attention span there is. It's just a basic fact of our culture and our planet right now. So I like in and out and getting right to the point. Here's a link, quick call to action. The subject line needs to be compelling. It's got to be evocative, provocative, benefit-driven, salacious in some way. And I don't mean in a sexy way. I mean, give it to me, I got to have it. And that's knowing your audience, to get people first to open up the email, and that's the first part of storytelling as well. So I'd say it's a long way of saying I like short form, and I find it to be really effective. But then again, I've got clients who say, no, I want to explain more stuff. That they're the client, they're happy with it, that's what they know. And I always say with anything in marketing, copy, whatever it is, test, test, test.
Test. Yeah, you know what we found too, because we not only send out loads of emails for ourselves, but other clients as well. And you can obviously see in the email marketing programs the links down the page, which ones are the most clicked on, and they completely drop out. The lower you go down the email, the longer the email. Yes. People just don't go down and click on those links. Now, question for you. What is your favorite tool, app, or resource that you're using right now in your business or your life?
Well, it's my library and my thesaurus. Always. I mean, the thesaurus is always there for me and my trade and what I do. And I'm an avid reader. It's a habit. Every morning I read. After I work out, I swim in the morning, and then I meditate, I steam, and then I read. So it's a habit. So my books are really important to me, and I read a lot of nonfiction, a lot on marketing, a lot on copywriting, and I enjoy it. A lot on business. It just keeps my chops honed. There's that expression and phrase I never forget. And I may have forget it because I may butcher this phrasing. Is that what is it? Leaders and thinkers and high-income earners have big libraries, and people who are struggling have big TVs.
I love that. It's so true. Hey, Dean, in your opinion, who's the best copywriter that you've ever come across?
I've got a few. I think Frank Kern is tremendous. I think Perry Belcher's great. I love, and then there's the granddaddies, John Carlton, Dan Kennedy. You've got the guys who they learn from. They're Eugene Schwartz and Rosser Reeves, Robert Collier, Gary Halbert, all the guys and people and the women that we go back to, Gary Biancivenga, contemporaries, Paris Lampropoulos, there's Craig Simpson. There's some just tremendous copywriters, and they all have their own style. They all have their own specialty niches that they work in, and so there's so much content out there that you can use for a swipe file, not directly swiping, but saying, why does this work? And going into it and taking the principles and incorporating it into my own work. Because people hire me because I've got a voice, and that I can reflect the voice of the client, which is really important. If they've already established their fan base, and I'm coming in imposing my assumptive reasoning as to what they want, that is not going to work. It's going to be totally incongruous. So, again, clients hire you. They hire Heather because you're able to adapt. You say, oh, I get it. There's a congruency there. You get this feeling that, I think I can help and support your message.
Yeah, definitely. What would be one thing that most people wouldn't know about you?
Let's see. Well, you kind of tipped the hat already. People when they find out I did stand-up comedy, because I'm not one of those guys who's always comedians. They always have this. People have this perception that they're always on, and that was never me. I didn't have that need to always have those people around me. And I love making people laugh. Oh, that's one of my number one things is making people laugh. I just love levity. I love laughing. I've got a very annoying laugh, and my wife is almost embarrassed to go to a movie with me that's funny and sit next to me, and she'll move a couple of seats away. So it's probably it's probably stand-up. And then I used to do, and also was a screen. Oh, here's something. I was in dental school. That's probably something. I went through all my. From the time I was 6, 7 years old, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then when I was at university, I decided this is the way I thought. Because I went through pre-med, I took the med boards, and I thought in my junior year, no, I loved comedy because I started performing comedy and doing improv and sketch comedy in college and in university, that no, I'll be a dentist. I'll still be in the medical profession because if I do that, I'll have my nights free, and I'll be able to do stand-up at nights. That was my, that was my college-induced brain thinking. And then after a year, I just couldn't take it. I didn't like it, so I left.
Nice.
And you have great teeth, by the way, Heather.
Oh, it's the American in me. You see, I was blessed with parents that believed in orthodontics and dentistry.
Well, that's as far as my dental experience goes, is saying you have a wonderful smile. Keep it.
Funny. Good one. All right, so let's get stuck into some simple tips that we can leave our listeners and viewers with. What are 3 simple tips that you would like to share with somebody? Now, this can be life or business lessons, or this can be specific to copywriting.
Well, I'm not going to be so bold or presumptive as to give people life lessons, because I'm still goofing and screwing up plenty myself. So if anybody's got any tips for me, bring them on. I'm all ears. I would say, so in terms of copy, people's presence is usually their homepage or a landing page on a website. Make it go through the copy and make sure everything is outer directed, you directed, audience directed. Take out all the eyes, our company, me, and change it to you. Flip it 180 degrees on its ear and rephrase it in terms of benefit to your audience. Because you can go to any website, and practically any website, 99% of them out there, and they'll tell you how great they are. And what we have, here's what we do. Here's how good we are. Here's how revolutionary what we have does. So change it and think, all right, well, if it's so revolutionary, how is that going to benefit my audience? That would be the first thing. The next thing, have a terrific USP. Again, benefit driven. Go back to some things that are standards. Federal Express, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. There's no doubt in anybody's mind what it is. And the reason I named my company One Big Idea Marketing is keep it to one idea. The shotgun approach is trying to think everybody is your audience and that you want as many people as possible. You're going to have hardly anybody. So hone in. You don't need everyone as a customer. Find out who your ideal customer is, hone in on it, and talk their language. Talk directly to them. And definitely have a great lead magnet, because everything starts with your list. Number one, it all starts with your list. So have an opt-in on your homepage. a great opt-in on your landing page, and make sure it is a very compelling lead magnet that people say, I got to have that. And to know that they want it, again, it goes back to the first thing we talked about on this hangout, is you have to know your audience so you can talk their language. And where's their pain? Where are their challenges? What problem does your product or service solve?
Hey Dean, I've got a great ebook. I reckon that's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Are ebooks working as lead magnets anymore?
Depends on the lead magnet and how compelling it is. And since we do seem to be going, I'll tell you, what's a great lead magnet is maybe not an ebook, but what's called a checklist, just a one sheet, because those ebooks just sit on your computer and they don't do anything. People will never read them. But if it's a one sheet and you tell people, hey, you're going to get everything you need on one page, they'll look at it and say, these are the things. There's a great example of one of the best, and this is like legend in the business, when Evan Pagan was doing his dating. Are you familiar with this? Mm-hmm. He was doing his dating service as David D'Angelo, and his lead magnet was find out, how to know when a girl wants to kiss you. And oh man, what guy wouldn't want that in their 20s with raging hormones? So people were downloading it, and it was a simple, just 3 sentences. Lean half in. If she leans in, you know she wants to kiss you. If she doesn't, she doesn't. And you think, that was the tip, and people go, oh man, that is great. How much, talk about a great lead magnet. See, Heather, I saw Heather lean in there. She leaned in.
You're funny. I love this. Just the other day, to give you an example of how well these little one-pagers are working, one of our clients had like a whole little mini video training series, and then she's a sales trainer, and then she changed to just doing the top 10, closing techniques that she's learned over the last 10 years that have worked the best. It's just a one-pager, and she's like doubled her opt-ins just as a result of just giving away that one-pager. So that's great. Good advice.
Yeah, it's people's time and attention is very short. So why not meet them where they are so you can bring them where you want them to go?
Yeah, absolutely. A question for you, because you keep saying get to know who your market is, really get to understand your market. Do you have an exercise or a tip on how somebody might go about doing that? Because you're right, most business owners try and cover the blanket. They just go, I'm just going to put it out there, and they don't actually get inside the head of their ideal client. So where would you start with somebody to give them advice around how to do that?
All right, so if you have a list, that's pretty easy. Survey them. Send out a real easy survey. SurveyMonkey. Make it simple, brief, some radio buttons that they can click on, some multiple choices, find out what they want. Then, when they do that, you know what you can do with that survey when they're telling you what they want? You can create a product for them because they just told you what they want. That's pretty simple. So if you've already got a list, if you don't have a list and you're just starting out and you think, okay, I've got a widget, well, I've got a product or a service, so go to Amazon and look at some book titles of whatever it is you might be selling. And then find out what are the keywords that people are searching for. All of that information, keywords of what people are searching for, you may have never even thought in your wildest dreams what people are looking for. You can also go to some like AOL and look at headlines in your industry to find out what are the captivating headlines that are grabbing people, because any kind of news service, any kind of publisher online in your niche, and it could be model locomotive trains. There's buzzwords, and you can find out what people are wanting that way. I mean, Amazon is an amazing way to find out who your audience is.
I love what you just said about create a survey and then ask them what they want and then create a product around what they want. Heather and I see this all the time with some of our clients, that they think they've created the best thing since sliced bread. It's this best product that's going to do this, this, and this. But it's the best to them. It's not the best to the actual audience. and they want to promote it and try and put a square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't work. And they sit there and go, well, I can't understand why nobody wants it. It must be the sales copy. It must be something else. But in actual fact, nobody really wants it. So I love that. I love that way. If you're listening out there and you're thinking, well, I'm about to build a product, go and survey first and see if they actually want that product. That's a great idea.
You will save yourself a lot of time, especially. You'll save yourself, if you're buying Facebook ads or Google ads or PPC, and you're going to save yourself a ton of money doing this. And a survey is such an easy way to do it. You can even test your product. If you think your product is what they want, spend just a few pennies, put up some Facebook ads for that product as a test. You don't even have to have it available. It doesn't have to be built. It could be an idea. See what kind of clicks you get. Play with it, and your audience, your market will tell you if that's what they want. And if nobody's responding to it, there's no need to go any further with it.
Yeah.
You've got to change your messaging.
Hey, what's a quote or a mantra that you like to live your life by right now?
It is do unto others. And I don't mean that in the religious or the biblical sense. I mean it in a humanitarian sense. And I live my life and my day by that. Give more than just give. Give great value. And when I say give, it doesn't mean you're doing everything for free. Or every time somebody says, I need this, you're doing it. That's not what I mean by give. Because by doing that, you're not only selling your soul, but you don't have healthy boundaries. When I say this, you've got to have healthy boundaries. Give from a place of, what do I have that's going to be of value? Because if I continue to give, and my soul is getting sucked dry, and my energy, then the value is just going to plummet. There's no value there. So you put it out in the world, it will come back. And also patience. Patience is definitely, and I've learned, and my daughter's 15, but she has taught me more patience. Kids will teach you patience more than anything, and it's really come through, because I was shoot for, it's that, ready, fire, aim. It was fire, aim, and then maybe you're ready, So
nice.
And my wife would say, as a saying, sit still and get her done.
Nice. So ultimately, as we start to wrap up here, what's one thing, or not one thing, but ultimately, what do you really want to be known for?
Being an amazing dad and an incredible husband. Priority, first and foremost. My family is everything, and so we've designed, both my wife and I designed and orchestrated our lives around, before my daughter was born, raising just this wonderful, conscious human being. So both my wife and I, we're both writers. She's a novelist, and we both work out of the house. We're around each other 24 hours. We love it, and so I'm able to be with my daughter every morning before she goes to school, and we're able to pick her up and spend time with her in the evenings, enjoy great family time. And even when she was a baby, my wife and I took shifts where my wife could sleep at night, because my daughter was very high needs, and I would do the midnight shift, hold my daughter. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's just, to me, that's more enriching and fulfilling than anything. Before money, before work, and it's one of the reasons I got off the road from stand-up, because I knew I was committed to having a family. So that would be my legacy.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, as we wrap up, I am going to I want to know, if people want to actually work with you or know more about you, what are the best places for them to go online to find out more?
Well, thank you for that. Go to onebigIdeamarketing.com, and that's the number onebigIdeamarketing.com, and that would be the best way, or they can feel free to email me. Is it okay to give an email? It's onebigIdeamarketing@gmail.com. So
okay, wonderful.
Or through
And through us, of course, guys, on MakeItSimple.tv, we always put links to our guests on our show notes that are under this video. So we also have the replay over there, and there's so much great information in this episode, not just for copy, but for just running and growing your business. I think you should definitely go back in and take some good notes from this episode. So as we wrap up, I'm going to flick it over to you, Andrew. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
No, Dean, thank you for sharing all that knowledge of yours. I know you are brilliant at copywriting, and if anybody's ever thinking about getting some copywriting done the right way, Dean is the man to go and see. Make sure you go and do that. Thank you for spending this time with us. We really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Heather, and thank you, Andrew. And I'm very honored and humbled that you invited me on your program. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing. Guys, we'll see you in the next episode of Make It Simple TV. Have an amazing week ahead. Talk soon.